A young woman named Jess is sleeping alone in a motel room. She starts twitching in her sleep and suddenly wakes up after suffering another terrifying nightmare. She goes to the bathroom and washes her face. A figure appears behind her in the mirror, and she wakes up again. The same events repeat. She goes to the bathroom, washes her face, but this time there is no figure in the mirror. She returns to the room and turns on the TV. Nothing but static appears on the screen. She tries to turn it off, but the remote does not work. A strange figure suddenly appears on the TV. She looks down at her feet, and the television shows a brief glimpse of them as well. She looks down once more and sees the same glimpse again. Suddenly, someone grabs her feet and drags her beneath the bed, causing her to wake up once again. She calls her mother, who asks if everything is all right. Jess claims she is simply exhausted from constantly traveling for work. Her mother tells her that she used to struggle with terrible anxiety at the same age and hopes the same thing is not happening to her. Jess eventually admits that she keeps having the same horrifying nightmare. When she refuses to describe it, her mother explains that nightmares can sometimes feel so real that they begin spilling over into the daytime. Her mother offers to come over, but Jess insists that she is fine. Before hanging up, however, her mother suddenly becomes terrified. She says she can sense an evil presence surrounding Jess, something that may be after her, and desperately begs her to leave the motel immediately because she believes she is in real danger. Suddenly, the blanket begins engulfing Jess while she screams for help, and she wakes up again. She turns on the lights and, deciding she has had enough, starts packing her belongings. When she opens her bag, a snake lunges at her, and she wakes up once more. Determined to escape, Jess grabs her car keys and heads for the exit, only to discover that the motel room no longer has a door. She searches behind the curtains but finds only a window. Moments later, her mother suddenly appears inside the room. She explains that she became frightened after their phone call. Jess insists there is no way out, but her mother points behind her and says the door is right there. When Jess claims it is locked, her mother tells her to use the key. Jess argues that keys are only used to enter a room, not to unlock the door from the inside. Ignoring her, her mother picks up the room key and effortlessly unlocks what appears to be an ordinary door. Just as they are about to leave, a mysterious attacker ambushes them from behind. Jess watches helplessly as her mother is brutally murdered by a faceless man before waking up once again. Panicked, she calls 911 and begs the dispatcher to send someone because something is trying to kill her. She admits that she can no longer distinguish reality from her recurring nightmare and is not even sure whether the phone call itself is real. The dispatcher reassures her that it is real and that the police are already on the way. The dispatcher then asks whether she is in any immediate danger. When Jess says she is not, the dispatcher casually asks about the man with the knife. Jess is horrified because she never described her attacker. The dispatcher suddenly starts laughing. Jess realizes the phone she is holding has no wires and smashes it against the wall. A snake emerges from the hole in the wall and slithers onto the bed. She backs away, shatters the television screen, and grabs a shard of glass to defend herself. While doing so, she accidentally cuts herself and then witnesses another version of herself waking up in the bed. The other Jess walks into the bathroom and drinks water from the tap. A figure appears behind her and silently tells the original Jess to stay quiet. The original Jess desperately warns the other version, but the floor holds her in place, preventing her from moving. The figure murders the other Jess. The original Jess shuts the bathroom door and, now freed from the floor, sits down. Inside the bathtub, she discovers the dead version of herself, who calmly assures her that she is not going to hurt her. The dead Jess explains that everything happening is because of the original Jess herself. She says the original Jess is in control and brought all of them there because she wanted them there. When Jess says she only wants to go home, the dead Jess tells her that if she truly wants to go home, then she should simply go home. If she wants everyone to disappear, she only has to make them disappear. The dead Jess believes she created all of this because she needs them there, because without them she would have to face whatever is waiting outside in the daylight. She says it is much easier for Jess to confront these nightmares than to face the reality beyond the motel room. Jess accuses her of trying to frighten her, but the dead Jess insists that she is already terrified. Determined to leave, the original Jess heads for the exit. The dead Jess quietly opens the door for her. As soon as Jess steps into the room, the faceless figure attacks. She fights back and manages to kill him. Hands reach out from beneath the bed and try to drag her under, but she grabs the knife and stabs at them. Her mother suddenly appears behind her, desperately urging her to run and get out before it is too late. In the chaos, Jess stabs her own mother with the knife. Just as she is about to leave, the dead Jess asks whether this is truly what she wants. Jess hesitates. She looks toward the bed and sees yet another version of herself sleeping peacefully. The dead Jess asks whether she can really face herself in the daylight. Jess insists that she is no longer afraid. She slowly turns toward the door and hesitantly opens it. A blinding light floods into the room, lifting her into the air. The episode ends as the original Jess is overwhelmed with joy, relief, and a sense of peace. Like and subscribe the channel for more videos like these.